All right, so you're prepping for a tax policy analyst interview. That's great. We've got some resources from RoleCatcher to help you nail it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Career guides, sample interview questions, and even information on their AI tools. We're diving deep into these resources today to give you the knowledge and strategies to ace that interview.
I love it. So we can really help tailor this information to like your specific needs.
Yeah.
We'll dissect those tricky interview questions, sprinkle in career insights, and even explore how RoleCatcher's AI can give you a personalized edge.
I like it. So first things first, what exactly does a tax policy analyst do?
Okay.
It's more than just crunching numbers, right?
Absolutely. They're the architects of tax systems,
Whoa,
influencing economies, businesses, and even your wallet. Think of them as financial detectives who analyze tax laws and policies, advising governments and organizations on their implications.
Okay, so they have a real impact.
Yeah.
Let's dive into those interview questions. RoleCatcher has a massive library of them, but we've pulled out the most common ones for tax policy analysts
Excellent choice.
to really help you prepare.
Practice is key to feeling confident and prepared.
Yeah. Let's start with a classic. Describe your experience with tax policy analysis.
Okay.
How would you approach that one?
This is your chance to showcase your passion and expertise. Don't just list your previous roles. Highlight specific projects, where you made a difference. Did you identify a loophole in a policy? Develop a new analytical methodology? Or perhaps you had a light bulb moment about a policy's impact on a specific group.
So focus on the times. You went beyond the numbers and really dug into the real-world effects of policies.
Exactly. And be prepared for follow-up questions, like, can you give me an example of a time your analysis directly influenced a policy decision?
Oh.
Have a concise, compelling anecdote ready. That demonstrates your ability to translate analysis into action.
This is where those specific examples really come in handy. Now on to another common question. How do you stay up to date with changes in tax policy and regulations?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say to that?
This one is all about demonstrating your commitment to continuous learning. Tax laws are constantly evolving, so you need to show you're on top of it. Mention your go-to sources: journals, think tanks, influential blogs, or even specialized newsletters. By the way, have you explored the Tax Foundation's tax policy blog?
I haven't.
Or the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policies publications? They're fantastic resources.
Noted. Would you recommend mentioning specific legislation
Hmm?
or recent changes that have caught my eye?
Absolutely. It shows you're not just passively reading, but actively engaging with material and thinking about its implications. The interviewer wants to see you connecting the dots and forming your own opinions.
Okay, I'm starting to see how each question digs deeper into my understanding and engagement with the field. Now on to this one. How do you evaluate the effectiveness of tax policies and regulations? That seems like a tough one.
Here's where your analytical skills take center stage. Think about different evaluation methods. You've used cost-benefit analysis, impact assessments, statistical modeling techniques.
So hard data is key here.
Yeah.
Showing you can use it to measure a policy's success or uncover unintended consequences.
Precisely. Don't forget to mention the importance of considering those unintended consequences. Policies can have ripple effects that aren't always obvious at first glance.
That's a nuance that could really impress an interviewer.
Right. It could also lead to a follow-up question, like, can you give me an example of a time you identified an unintended consequence of a tax policy and how you addressed it?
Ooh, that's a tough one. But having a story ready could definitely set me apart.
Exactly. It showcases your ability to think critically and anticipate potential pitfalls. Speaking of communication, the next question often throws people off. How do you communicate complex tax policy information
Oh, yeah.
to stakeholders with varying levels of expertise?
Yes. Explaining taxes to someone who isn't a tax expert.
Think of it like this. You're explaining a complex tax code to your grandma. You need to distill complicated information into clear, digestible language anyone can understand.
So no jargon allowed.
Exactly. Highlight your ability to use analogies, visuals, or even storytelling to make tax policy relatable and engaging. Imagine them asking, tell me about a time you had to explain a complex tax policy to a non-expert.
Oh.
How did you approach it?
Okay.
Be ready with a compelling example.
Okay, I'm seeing the pattern here. It's all about having those clear, specific examples ready. Now let's shift gears back to numbers with this one. How do you analyze the revenue impact of tax policy proposals?
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
This question is all about the money. How will those proposed changes affect government coffers? Mention your experience with financial modeling, forecasting, and revenue estimation techniques. Think about the factors you consider when projecting the revenue impact of a change.
So connecting policy to its financial outcomes. Shortfalls, windfalls, the whole shebang.
Precisely. Be prepared to discuss specific factors you consider, like economic growth, behavioral responses, and potential loopholes.
This is all incredibly helpful. Now on to a question that really tests your grasp of the broader picture. What do you consider to be the most pressing tax policy issues facing the country today?
The big picture question.
Yeah.
This one requires research
Yeah.
and thoughtful consideration. Think about current debates: international taxation, wealth inequality, automation's impact on the workforce. Frame your answer around an issue you're passionate about.
So demonstrating my grasp of those complex interconnected issues and showcasing my own interests.
Exactly. They might even ask, what are some potential solutions to address this issue? And what are the trade-offs involved?
Yeah.
This is your chance to shine as a critical thinker.
That's a great tip. Okay, one last question before we move on to the career guide. How do you balance competing interests when developing tax policy recommendations?
Ooh.
How would you tackle that one?
This question gets to the heart of the challenge. Taxes are a balancing act. What benefits one group might negatively impact another. Show you can see all sides, weigh different perspectives, and strive for fairness and effectiveness.
It sounds like a difficult job,
Mm-hmm.
but also incredibly impactful. Should I be prepared to discuss
Yeah,
specific examples of how I've navigated competing interests in the past?
absolutely. Have a story ready about a time you had to make a difficult decision that involved trade-offs, and walk them through your reasoning. This will demonstrate your ability to make tough calls while remaining objective and fair.
Okay, I'm feeling much more prepared to tackle these questions head on.
Good.
But before we dive into more of RoleCatcher's resources, I'd love to get your insights on some career aspects outlined in their guide.
Great idea. Understanding the broader context of a career in tax policy is essential for making informed decisions and presenting yourself effectively in the interview. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of tax policy analyst interviews. In part 1, we tackled some challenging interview questions and laid the groundwork for understanding this dynamic role.
It was a whirlwind of information. I feel much more confident about those tricky questions now. So what's next?
Okay,
How can RoleCatcher's AI tools take my preparation to the next level?
let's explore that. Remember, these tools offer a personalized edge designed to help you stand out from the crowd.
Perfect. Let's start with CV Resume Builder. How exactly does AI help me optimize my resume?
This is where the AI's analytical power shines. It scans your resume, compares it to the specific skills outlined in the job description, ensuring it speaks the employer's language.
So it's not just about making it look pretty, it's about making sure it highlights the skills and experiences they're actually looking for.
Precisely. The AI identifies keywords and phrases highly valued in tax policy and suggests ways to incorporate them naturally into your resume. It can even recommend specific accomplishments or projects to highlight based on the job requirements.
That takes the guesswork out of it, especially for someone like me, who might not be familiar with the specific language that resonates with recruiters in this field.
It's about presenting a compelling narrative that aligns with the hiring manager's expectations. Think of it as tailoring your story to resonate with their specific needs.
Okay, so the AI helps me optimize my resume. But what about the cover letter? That's where I usually struggle.
Don't worry, RoleCatcher has you covered there too. Their AI can help you tailor your cover letter and even your personal statement to each specific job application.
So it's more than just swapping out the company name and job title.
Absolutely. The AI analyzes the job description and suggests specific skills, experiences, or even personal qualities to emphasize. It's about going beyond generic statements and crafting a personalized message that captures the hiring manager's attention.
That's a game changer. It's like having a writing assistant who knows exactly what each employer is looking for.
It's a powerful tool, but remember, it enhances your writing, not replaces it. Your unique voice and insights should always shine through.
Right, it's a collaboration. Okay, so I've got my resume and cover letter optimized. Now let's talk about the interview itself. How can RoleCatcher's AI help me tailor my responses to specific job roles?
This is where things get really interesting. RoleCatcher's AI goes beyond prepping you for generic interview questions. It analyzes the job description and identifies the key competencies the employer is seeking.
So it helps me understand what this particular employer values most beyond the general duties of a tax policy analyst.
Exactly. For example, one employer might prioritize analytical skills, while another focuses on communication or collaboration. The AI tailors your responses to emphasize the qualities that matter most to them. It can even suggest specific examples from your experience that highlight those qualities.
That takes so much pressure off. It's like having a personalized interview coach in my pocket.
Yeah, precisely. But remember, use the AI suggestions as a springboard. Your genuine enthusiasm and expertise are what will truly set you apart.
Right, it's about enhancing my answers, not replacing them entirely. Speaking of which, I tend to get nervous in interviews and sometimes stumble over my words. Can RoleCatcher's AI help with that?
Absolutely. RoleCatcher's video practice feature lets you record yourself answering interview questions. The AI analyzes your video and provides personalized feedback on your body language tone and even the content of your answers.
It's like having an AI-powered mock interview tailored to the exact job I'm applying for. That's incredibly valuable, especially for someone like me who learns best visually.
It helps you identify any nervous habits and project confidence. Now, remember what we discussed earlier, asking thoughtful questions during the interview.
Right. How can RoleCatcher help me prepare insightful questions that make a good impression?
RoleCatcher's database is packed with employer information company profiles, industry trends, and even reviews from current and former employees. You can research and prepare questions that demonstrate you've done your homework.
Wow, that's amazing. It helps me show genuine interest and initiative.
Exactly. The questions you ask are just as important as the answers you give. It's your chance to assess whether the organization is the right fit for you as well.
So we've covered how RoleCatcher's AI helps with my resume, cover letter, interview responses, and even asking insightful questions. Is there anything else I can do to stand out in this competitive job market?
Don't underestimate the power of networking.
Networking can feel intimidating, but I know it's important.
Think of it as building relationships and connecting with people who share your interests. RoleCatcher can help here too. Their network management tool lets you organize your professional contacts and strategically leverage your existing network.
So it's not about cold messaging random people on LinkedIn.
Not at all. It helps you identify people who might offer insights, advice, or even connections in the tax policy field. Nurture the relationships you already have and leverage them thoughtfully.
Networking feels less daunting when you frame it as building mutually beneficial relationships.
It is, and it can be incredibly rewarding, both personally and professionally.
I'm feeling so much more confident about this whole process. But with all this AI optimization, how do I make sure I'm not losing my authentic self?
That's a fantastic question. Remember, the goal is to present your best self, not pretend to be someone you're not.
So it's about balancing, tailoring my message to the employer's needs while staying true to my values, passions, and personality.
Precisely. The AI is a tool to help you communicate effectively, but it can't replace your genuine enthusiasm and expertise.
Right, it's a collaboration. I use the AI's insights to refine my message.
But my own voice always shines through.
Exactly. Authenticity is key. Employers can spot a fake from a mile away. I feel much more confident about navigating this process while staying true to myself.
Excellent. Remember, the job search can be challenging, but it's also an opportunity for growth and self-discovery.
That's a great perspective. We've explored how to use RoleCatcher's AI to personalize my interview prep and network strategically, and we've emphasized the importance of staying true to myself throughout the process.
We've covered a lot of ground, but there's still more to discuss. Join us for part 3, where we'll dive into those tricky behavioral interview questions and provide some final tips for making a lasting impression.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into preparing for a tax policy analyst interview. We've covered a lot of ground, understanding the role tackling those common questions, and even exploring how RoleCatcher's AI can give you a personalized edge.
We've equipped you with a powerful toolkit. Now let's delve into a type of question that often trips people up: behavioral interview questions.
Oh yeah, those questions that ask you to tell a story, but with a hidden agenda. They're not just testing your knowledge, they're trying to assess your skills, judgment, and problem-solving approach, all through your past experiences.
Precisely. And in the field of tax policy, where decisions can have a significant impact, those skills are crucial. So how do we conquer these behavioral beasts?
I'm all ears. What's the first step to cracking the code?
Understand the interviewer's goal. They're not looking for a simple story. They're looking for evidence of your competencies. They want to see how you've applied those skills in real-world situations.
So it's not just about what happened. It's about what I learned, how I grew, and the skills I developed as a result.
Exactly. Think about situations that highlight those essential tax policy analyst qualities we've already discussed. Analytical skills, communication, and balancing. Competing interests. What other skills come to mind?
Problem solving. Tax policy analysts are constantly faced with complex challenges, so showcasing my ability to think critically and find creative solutions is key.
Absolutely. And remember, attention to detail is paramount in tax policy. Highlight situations where you demonstrated meticulousness and accuracy. Even a small error can have significant consequences.
Got it. Attention to detail is key. What else should I be prepared to showcase?
Teamwork and collaboration are essential. Tax policy is rarely developed in isolation. Be ready to discuss times you've effectively worked with others to achieve a common goal.
Okay, I've got a good list of skills to draw from, but how do I actually structure my answer? To a behavioral question, is there a specific format I should follow?
A helpful framework is the STAR method. Situation, task, action, result. It's a clear and concise way to tell a story while highlighting your skills and accomplishments.
I've heard of the STAR method. Can you break it down?
Sure. First, describe the situation or context of the example you'll share. Then outline the specific task you were responsible for. Next, describe the actions you took to address the situation. Finally, explain the results of your actions, quantifying them whenever possible.
So if I was asked about a time I demonstrated problem-solving skills, I'd start by describing the specific problem, then my role in addressing it, the steps I took, and finally the positive outcome, ideally with some hard numbers to back it up.
Precisely. Did you save the company money, improve efficiency, contribute to a positive policy outcome? Those measurable results will make your story more impactful.
Okay, I'm feeling much more prepared to tackle those behavioral questions now. But before we wrap up, I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier, conveying my passion for tax policy during the interview.
It's an essential ingredient. Skills and experience are important, but genuine enthusiasm can truly set you apart.
So how do I express that passion? Authentically. I don't want to sound forced or rehearsed.
Be yourself. Let your excitement shine through naturally. Talk about what fascinates you, about tax policy, the issues you're passionate about, and how you hope to contribute to the field.
So it's about connecting with the interviewers on a personal level and letting them see my genuine interest.
Exactly. And remember, the interview is a two-way street. It's also an opportunity for you to evaluate them, ask thoughtful questions, show you've done your research, and assess whether this organization aligns with your values and goals.
It's about finding the right fit for both sides. I think we've covered everything we need to know to rock that tax policy analyst interview.
I agree. Remember, preparation is key, but confidence and authenticity are equally important.
Well said. To all our listeners out there who are about to embark on this exciting journey, we wish you the best of luck.
The world of tax policy needs your unique talents and perspectives.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of tax policy analyst interviews. We hope you feel informed, inspired, and empowered to take on this challenge with confidence.